Hey friends, I'm Russell and this is Descended Masters channel because of course we're all Descended Masters, just having forgotten, and this channel is about reminders and pointers to that what we already know. So with this in mind, I thought today I'd open up a discussion on fifth dimensional manifestation. Now, I've spent quite a bit of my time trying to discover ways of manifestation and following the law of attraction teachings. And even though I was using them in a way as a coach, as a life coach, there was something always blocking me from really exploring it further or really teaching it to others or sharing it with others. And part of me resonated with it, and another part thought, there's something not right here. I don't feel in my integrity when talking about law of attraction teachings, or at least selling law of attraction and selling law of attraction services. If I look into it, what it was is something to do with, there's a duality involved in, if I think of something, I want to attract it to me, there's a duality. There's a me and there's an object that I want to attract to me. So there's this distance. And then if you begin to look into that distance, who is this one really who is intending to manifest something outside of you or apparently separate? So there were these doubts, which is difficult because partly another part resonates with it. And the part that resonates with that law of attraction teachings is the recognition, which you might also have, is that frequency, I want to say, is attractive, but it's more than attractive. When you're in a particular frequency, you are in a world in which other things of that frequency coexist. So it makes sense then to look at frequency, to manage your frequency to the degree to which you can. But the idea of attracting something to you, there's a duality in that. So that outlines some of my discomforts and attractions to that law of attraction teachings. The other big thing that I have with it is the sheer disappointment of using law of attraction sometimes, because you get fired up by books and courses on it, you apply them, you think of something, you do your vision boards, you think, you feel, and then nothing happens. Or things even get worse. So these put me off for a long time, but I've kept going back again and again because I thought there's something in here that I want to get. Okay, so we'll see how far this video gets with unpacking that. And I'm going to call this fifth dimensional the way forward, as I said, is what I call fifth dimensional manifestation, as opposed to third dimensional or fourth dimension. So that's the lens that I'll look at it today. Now, you might be familiar with dimensions. Third dimension is this ordinary reality that we live in. It's quite mechanical. It's Newton's laws. Business as usual, status quo as usual. Most of humanity operating in a third dimensional logical framework. Then we have fourth dimension, which, as I see it, is your mental emotional level. It's also to do with your astral level. So if you are, and you're energetic, so if you're doing something like Tai Chi or Qigong to do with your energy field, that is a fourth dimensional, like it's physical but not solidly physical. So think of it that way. Third dimension is this: everything you touch, laws of physics. Okay. Fourth dimension is related to this physical body in the physical world, but is not purely physical. It's more like the energetic layer, or the dream world, or the mental and emotional layers. I like to imagine it just as this, almost like an aura. That's fourth density, fourth dimension. Astral as well. Anything where you are imagining, that's fourth density dimension. Must be careful because some people, the density and dimensions are different. I'm just using the dimensions here because I like the way it splits up third dimension as physical, fourth dimension as being more your metaphysical, emotional level. Now, Earth is ascending, and we are with it if you choose, to fifth dimension, apparently. Well, what is fifth dimension? So this is a point where people don't often teach this bit, because we only in touch with this fourth dimensional layer. We travel in dreams, we meditate, we try to manifest with mind. That's fourth dimension. But this fifth dimension is something different. The fifth dimension is, it is not physical, even in a very subtle form. It is associated with the now. It's associated with the I am, simply knowing I am. I am. It's presence. We can also say it's related to the causal body. Okay, now you've got bodies. Gross body, subtle body, and causal body. This is the gross body. Gross meaning it's just physical. The subtle body is this fourth dimensional, energetic, fourth dimension. It's subtle, okay? So in your subtle body, you can travel in dreams, or you might have the sense of, I can create my reality through imagination and intention and intuition. It's a subtle body that can move more freely than the third density, gross physical body. So it's an important distinction to make: gross physical body, subtle, and then the causal dimension. The causal body, which is very mysterious. You can't touch it, you can just know it. You know it in your being. I am. It's a sense of I amness. Okay, can you see there will become problems when you try to manifest from this level, because if it's just I am, there's not much that follows that. If you say I am amazing, I am wealthy, that's the subtle body, which is your fourth dimension. Nothing wrong with working at that fourth dimension, but I'm making a distinction here, guys, for you, in case you're interested in it, in case you've been bothered by why the law of attraction teachings maybe feel limited to you. And what I'm offering is that as they stand, a lot of law of attraction stuff is rooted in the subtle body, fourth dimension, which can be a good step up if you're only used to working in the third dimension, which is like, I work hard for my paycheck. That's very 3D. So 4D will say, oh, I manifest, I imagine, I think good thoughts, I have wealth, I dream of wealth, I take action from that dream of wealth. That's your 4D person. So that's really a step up in power. But can you see you're still involved in the area of ego? It is still the area of mind. So this is where my reservations come in. Now that I can identify it, it's because it's the realm of mind. So when you're trying to manifest from these desires, they tend to be mind-based, and whenever you're in mind, you're in the territory of the ego. So even if it can be quite noble, like I want to manifest a book, or write a novel, or do something amazing, within that is the seeds of suffering because it's mind and ego. And I speak here from experience, because one of my main things has been creative writing and writing novels. And quite a while ago, a few years ago, that ability seemed to have left me, but the desire was still there to write novels. But I was continually frustrated in that. And so it was quite a grieving process to start this sort of letting go of that, when it's more and more not being realized, despite my efforts. I realized God is not really in this project of mine. So I have to think of what next. I have to feel into what is next, what is coming down the track for me next. And then I had to face the fact that while I had taken my desire of writing novels and art as noble, it was noble, but then there's a time for that to be dissolved, because now I have an identity linked to that. So if I do law of attraction work on writing another novel, creating a work of art, it could be that I'm doing something noble, or it could be I need to move on so that manifestation will not become real, because I'm staying stuck at a level, and I've built an identity on it. When you have an identity, that's the ego. So I am the author. I'm an authority in this thing. It's very attractive, it's very seductive, and very beautiful too, if you have it, because to have those beautiful dreams is wonderful. It brings you out of the drudgery of ordinary existence. But everything has to be released at some point. Everything has to be transcended and let go, or included and transcended. Okay. So part of my point is here: if you're using 4D techniques, law of attraction, as it's often taught, you will, without knowing it, be working largely from ego, and it might be quite an enlightened ego, quite a light ego, like quite a noble ego, but still the limitation is that it's ego, because it's what you know, so, and it's identity related. Like, I'd love a new relationship, say. It's beautiful, it's wonderful. Why shouldn't you have one that's more loving and supportive and warm and caring and all those things? So you can set out to manifest that. But what if that relationship is almost like a hideout for you? It's become a comfort place, and the time has come now. Your higher self wants you to discover that you can be okay on your own as you are, that your primary relationship is with you. So then the higher self, which is not 4D, it's high, it's the causal body, is pulling you onward and saying, let go of that. We're not going to support that manifestation of that relationship, because at this point of your evolution, it's not in your favor. It doesn't help your growth. Whereas for somebody else who's maybe never had that relationship, who's only had terrible relationships, it might be in their awakening into the higher self's purpose to have that relationship. So is it ego or not? It's always ego from that level, but sometimes that ego, it's like a blessed ego. It's like it's the next step of the evolution. It can be beautiful in its way. The ego part is just simply there's a trap waiting if you stay there too long, if you become identified too much with it. If you're identified with, oh, I always have terrible relationships, I'm a terrible person, something, you do some inner work, you manifest a beautiful relationship, and you have the idea, I am worthy of love, I have good relationships. That's wonderful. That's a step up. That's an expansion. That's your evolution. Yet within it is a trace of ego, which is the identity that I have these relationships. When actually you're beyond all relationships, you're beyond anything that is definable. You're beyond anything that you consider as a goal. So this is a bit of a sidetrack into the real subject of that little segue, was why you don't get what you intend, why you don't always get what you intend through law of attraction teachings. And it's because what you intend is usually ego-based, which is not necessarily a bad thing. There's no judgment to it. Sometimes you need to have that, and sometimes you want to move on from that, but you don't know. Okay. So sometimes when you're working 4D with your law of attraction, you will manifest what you desire because it is for your good. And sometimes you'll be thwarted in that because it's time for you to move on from that, and because ego was coming in. Now, okay. So we want to move away a little bit from this whole thing that you can have whatever you want. Because let's face it, whatever you want is usually something to do with there's usually ego involved in it, beautifully or less beautifully. And your higher self, which is beyond ego, will sometimes allow you to have those things if it's for your growth, and will sometimes block them. So we don't want to, as awakening beings, as light workers, star seeds, wanderers, we want to go for the highest of what we're capable of, the highest dimensions, right? And for many of us, that would mean beyond fourth dimension into causal body, the causal I am. So how do we manifest from here? And is it even manifesting? Which is the question. So the causal is the I am, which is presence, which you can notice right now in the background of your awareness. Even as I'm talking, you'll notice there's something just in the background that is aware, awake, and just almost like records, like a recorder, just is knowing of this that is happening without comment. And if you bring your awareness further back and rest into that, it's just awareness. I am. I just am. So it's like the ground of being. You can rest into that now, ground of being. From here, not much really needs to be done. So when you are in I am, you're not in the world of things, wanting things. You're in the world of presence. Present. I'm present here. I am. When you experience this more and more, manifestation becomes a matter of flowing with what comes through. So you're not in control of it. You're in control of awakening to essence or to presence, and then you remain aware and alert to what current comes forth from that. So you're receiving it. You see, in fourth dimension, should I call them dimensities because you can just muddle them up, mix them up. In the fourth, you're saying, okay, I want that red car, I want that house, I want that job. It's fine, beautiful, do that. But they're all things, the things that you think you need and that you're in control of. So here's another big difference. In that, the law of attraction teachings say, like, do a vision board, your house you want, how many rooms by the sea, paint it out, be very specific. Give it a date when it's supposed to show up. How much money is in the bank, how much, plan it down. That stuff works here, but it works at that level of mind. So you are, listen, look what's happening. Subtly or not so subtly, you are commanding something to happen a certain way, which is control. Okay? So let's pull out, it's control. You're controlling reality, which might be for you the step up, but it might also be for you a limitation. Because in the heart, when you step into the heart, there's no control. You're not in control. In fact, you sort of fade. You fade away as presence, and the heart comes forward, and you're not in control of that. So, fifth dimensional manifesting, it's not a one-to-one relationship between the desire to create something and what shows up. You can manifest a house. Just say you would love to manifest a house. You can dream of it, you can feel it, you can be into this beautiful house. But if you're operating at 5D, the operating system there is more like this house that you're imagining is simply a permission slip. It's like a symbol of a frequency. So you are putting yourself in the frequency of housiness, whatever that means. It means security, safety, creativity, expansion, whatever. It's a bunch of things that house symbolizes for you. That is the manifestation itself. That the frequency is manifestation. So think of 5D as the frequency is the manifestation. You just hang out in that frequency, because that's a world in itself. Now, if you can maintain and tune into that frequency of health, safety, lightness, abundance, you already have. In the moment you have it. In this moment now you have it. You don't need the physical symbol, the physical manifestation to show up. So 5D is about you don't need this, the physical manifestation to appear. So you can't be disappointed. Oh, my house didn't. God is not interested in your house, in your relation. God doesn't give a damn about relationships, house, car, money, no money. It's so beyond. You are so beyond. You are absolutely. If you fall deeper into this I am presence, you'll know that there's nothing that can hold you. Even if you want to be the most fabulous, in capital letters, Donald Trump or somebody, and have that much money, or Elon, I want to be richer than Elon Musk. Forget it. That's nothing. And that doesn't even touch who you are. So don't even bother. You're like at this level of feeling into presence. You know, if I had 44 billion, if I could buy Twitter now or Facebook or what good is that going to? Why would this Holy Spirit squeeze itself into a form like that? So that's why God doesn't care about those things. In other words, your most you-ness doesn't care for that stuff. It is. So it's not going to indulge things like I want a nice house. Unless that is just a natural flow that is coming through. So when you're doing 5D manifestation, you put yourself in a flow that comes through from somewhere else, from the indefinable, unnameable, beyond language, causal body, from I am, and then you ride with it. And house would be nice. And then you can think of what work you might love to do, or you flow with that, and knowing God doesn't care really about your house, or even your physical being, or your health, or your dreams. It just is, because it's so much bigger. It doesn't touch any of those things. But yet there's a flow. There's a flow into them, from the formless into the form world, from the non-material into the physical. But now you're removing yourself as this ego will, trying to shape it, and you're really only just choosing a frequency. If anything, it's that you're simply choosing a frequency, or feeling in even more. You're feeling in to the frequency that wants to show up more. You're not making it. So if I sit here and think, I just feel into feeling good. What's the first feeling good that comes to mind? That comes to me? It might be peace, or it might be stillness, or it might be, abundance, say. You're not in control of that. It happens. So you're recognizing what is here already and opening more to that. So now you're flowing. You see, there's no ego there because you're flowing with it. So now your presence, your manifestation can always be present. It's like your life purpose. You don't have to search for it. It's not a thing. Your life purpose is just this now flowing with what wants to happen. Because your true purpose is so beyond what you can comprehend. God, your high self, your God self, doesn't have an idea of purpose like I must become a novelist or a doctor or start a church or whatever. It doesn't care. It's so much bigger than that. Anything like that will just be the smallest, like a shadow or semblance or resemblance of that original I am, that which is beyond a name and a form. So you must, I'd love to create beautiful art. I love it. You've got to so beyond that art, but the art for you conjures an essence, conjures a feeling of this, a quality of God, you could say. Quality of God. So you think, I have to become an artist, and so you become this whole thing. Then afterwards you lose your way in it, because God doesn't want you to be anything. You already are in entirety. You really are complete. And I'm talking to you guys who are intrigued by 5D manifestation. If it is meaningful and relevant to you to become an artist or whatever, then of course you will do that, and you will not listen to this message I'm telling now, which is for those who want to move on from that, who are forced to move on, to say what next, because now life feels empty. I don't have these passions. I don't have this. I long for purpose, but I don't find the purpose in anything. Yes, you won't, because your life is saying, I want to move to what is beyond the things. Beyond. So now, yes, now more the presence comes in, and then there's less to say. As I discover sometimes in my videos, when presence appears, there's less to say, less to manifest, less to worry about. Just forget everything and go into presence for a bit. Sit there. You know, such a relief to know you don't have to try and manifest things and find your destiny and pass. You've passed the test. Don't worry, forget about it. Just when you know that brings that ease. So if I can have a message here, almost like with this, the other message of this 5D stuff is just you can afford to relax. God is not setting you a test that you have to pass. You've already passed it. You're already beyond all tests. God doesn't have any idea what you're supposed to do or not. It's just now and here, in this moment. It manifests as you. It's a bit like if you've taken a hallucinogenic and you're like, wow, my hand, colors and that. Hey, that's all it is. That's it. That's what God is. Just wow. There's nothing beyond that. There's nothing you have to do beyond that. Because everything is fascinating. When you're in that presence, everything is fascinating, just like if you're on LSD or mushrooms. It's just nothing can improve that, because it's so curious. It's wonderful. So anything can happen in that, which for somebody else is say, oh, that's terrible. That's what's happening. Oh, gosh. So. But for you, it's interesting. So you'll only know that when you're in presence. I must manifest something. Oh, why? This movement will take me where I need to go. Now it's not easy, so don't put this forward as like, oh, now to be spiritual I must get this. No, you'll not get it. I haven't got it. It's at the edge of what I know. It's like what I'm leaning into, where the curiosity takes me. And then to set yourself as a goal, oh, I'm going to be like, I'm going to be so peaceful like Eckhart Tolle or somebody. That sets. You can be in the now just like Eckhart Tolle without having to get rid of your neuroses and your negative thoughts and all that stuff. I'll do a separate video on that because that's quite important. The first part of it is to let go of having everything to be positive. Okay, yes. So this is last thing maybe I'll say about 5D. You really want to let go of this obsession with law of attraction stuff about being positive. That itself can become a trap because growth doesn't always feel positive. Growth can feel painful. You want to find the place of being comfortable with the pain and with negative thoughts, because you're going to have those negative thoughts. You're going to have dark emotions. So really take the time to absorb this, that the fifth density dimension is at home with your light and your dark. The shadow is as welcome as anything. If you running away from the shadow, if you're trying to overcome it, or if you're trying to anything positive thoughts, that is good in a relative sense, but you will never completely overcome your negativity. The human mind will be negative, and you will have dark emotions. Sometimes because of negativity, sometimes it's because that's the process. You're going through an alchemical process. So 5D manifestation is not is not about being relentlessly positive. It's about going in and feeling. It's being present to what shows up, being present to your negative, to your difficult emotions. When you can be present to that, you'll notice behind. So here might be pain, but behind here in my background of awareness is, it's like, wow, it's peace, stillness. Now that is where you want to create from. But you don't have to get rid of this pain. It can be there. Or like your poverty. Just say, oh, I feel so poor, but I'm just going to witness my poverty feeling. I'm not going to get rid of it. It's a shame. It's there. It's a part. And it's learned to feel this way. And it's a human emotion. It's a normal human emotion. I don't need to be afraid of it. It can be there. You can live here. Poverty feeling, it's fine. Or loneliness, you just be here. I'll breathe into it. It's quite uncomfortable, but I'm okay with it. I can live here. I'm not going to do anything about it. I will watch it and be present to it, and I will tune into the background of my awareness, see what else is there. There's a peace that comes when I let go of having that to be different. I don't need to get rid of my aloneness now, or sadness. It's fine. You see, there's an ease now comes in. That ease comes from your causal body. It's from your I am. So now with that ease, with the ease part of you, you can tune into what wants to happen next, what wants to flow from here. And that is 5D manifestation. When you're not in control of it, the ease, the Holy Spirit, as it were, comes through from that non-physical into. You can only do that when you stop fighting with yourself. So the 5D path is about making peace with yourself and all the parts that make up your personality self. Not about getting rid of your negativity. Forget about it. We're far too deep, we're far too intense, we've had far too many life experiences in this life and others to be this kind of unicorn, violet peace all the time. Forget about it. I'm not at peace all the time. But I know where peace is. It's here. But here in front, in my body, in my mental space, I'm not at peace all the time. I'm just giving up trying to be there because I know I'll never get there. Because no human will get there. If you're in time, trying to get somewhere, that time will multiply itself and will always be there. If you want to step out of time, you can do it right now. Be at home in peace with your negativity. You'll step into that natural positivity of your causal body, which is 5D, and then it will create through you from there. Okay, I'm going to be quiet now and end this, but I will continue to talk more about 5D manifestation. Maybe do a series of these. If you have any questions, do pop them into the comments below the video. I will, if I can answer them, I will. If not, I will use them as material for the next video and answer them there. And of course, if you enjoyed this, like and subscribe. I will be doing more of these videos. Okay, I'll see you there.